Hi, I'm Tita Chancey, and I am here with Steve Mullany. Steve, tell me a little about your experience with the recorder. How'd you start?
Oh, I started when I was handed a plastic Cambridge recorder when I was the second semester of my senior year in high school. The
Mm.
band director was instructed, basically, by their curriculum coordinator that we wanted to give enrichment to seniors. Enrichment, what's this? And so everybody, all the departments had to do it. History, everybody,
Y'all
political
got enriched.
science, we all got enriched, okay? So here's the band director. He was a good one. He was excellent. His performances were inspiring to me. He had a symphonic band. They did, but he came out. He said, "What am I going to do?" So he hands us all these little miserable Cambridge plastic recorders, and I may have been the only one who took it seriously. And that summer, I was on a flat bottom riverboat going up and down the Potomac to Mount Vernon, and I sat in the head and practiced my little recorder. And on the boat, there was this guy who was a portrait artist, and he gave me my very first lessons. And he taught me how finally to play in rhythm, how to interpret those little black notes. And that's how it all began, you know. And shortly after that, when I heard some music, I heard some sonatas by Bach once, and I fell so in love. And I said, I'm just going to play this music. I don't care what it takes. I didn't play a flute then, but I got a hold of a flute. I got some lessons, and finally, 5 or 6 years later, I was playing the music, and I got a degree out of it too from Catholic University School of Music. So one thing led to another, you know, but propelled forward just by a desire to make the music that I loved my music. I
Okay.
don't believe it. I'm not putting my fingers on the holes. What's that?
Don't know.
I can't force it. You know, it's just it. All right. One more time. One more time.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so we're talking about practicing here.
Hey, we are now already heard the practicing.
So how are you going to practice that? It sounds like it's a matter of delicacy. It sounds like you have to be in a particular position. So you have to X amount of breath.
I don't think my fingers were even covering the holes.
Okay.
That was.
So can you practice from the note right before to the note you've got to get to?
I'm just going an octave, so.
Yeah.
Very delicate. And also that C sharp is delicate too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what's hard about it? The going up the octave is hard.
It's in the instrument. It is in the instrument. It's the nature of the instrument that you
Right.
can't bang that D or that
No,
or the
it's
C
too bad
sharp.
because it would be a really great place.
Yeah, it's a nice place to bang.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so since you can't, what are you going to do to make sure you get it?
Have a little more of a pause between the D.
Great idea.
And listen and really feel the holes, because you know if you're not there, although they should be there, you would figure that it's the
would.
same fingering.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost, you know, the fingers are in place.
Yeah.
But when you bend the thumb,
Right.
then maybe you shift the position of your whole hand.
You know, I think you got something there. Okay, so make it, yeah. Do it wrong on purpose for a second and see what you have to do to make it not work. Okay, so part of it is your fingers aren't in the holes. Okay, what are you doing with your thumb that's different? Because I thought you bent it more before and that didn't work so well.
Yeah. Well, but you got to bend it. But when you do that, it has its effect on other fingers. You know.
Uh-huh. It does indeed, doesn't it? It changes your relationship of the fingers to the, yeah. Well, I notice what you're actually doing is replacing the tip of the finger.
I forgot to do this.
Okay, show me how that helps.
Well, it greases the whole space, so the thumb, when it bends, it doesn't have any resistance from the wood, and that's important because you don't want the wood getting in your way. So there, now that was better.
So it slides better.
It slides. Well, it's sliding a little bit. I mean, I used to, way before I learned how to play properly, I used to just move the thumb, slide it away, and do that instead of bending it. And as John Tyson pointed out, all the pros bend, and it's a more definite act. And sliding, it doesn't cut it.
I see. Okay.
So, but still, there has to be, you want to lessen the resistance because you're still rolling a little bit against that hole, and you don't. Anyway.
Okay. I got a question for you. The coordination between the amount of breath that you got to do to go up the octave and the hands, the fingers, the thumb changing, does that have to happen exactly at the same moment, or does one happen before the other?
You have to have your finger in place before you tongue that note. In other words, so if you start blowing before the thumb is in place, you're going to get some squeak.
Okay. You might want to think about that a little, because it sounded to me like your mouth anticipated your finger.
Yeah, that's an important point. Now there, I didn't even tongue, but you see.
Yeah, but
now it's good to practice that. It's good to practice just moving fingers to see how secure you can get it, even without the tongue. That's good.
Oh yeah.
But the tongue has to be there finally in the end. But and then it's a coordination thing, right? But
we'll do it with the articulation that you've got to do there, because you've got to. Exactly.
Good to have a little space there for all good musical reasons too.
All sorts of things.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it again.
All right.
Nice.
That works.
That works. So, what else would you want to talk about for this piece?
Well, from the point of view of practicing it.
Why not? Since that seems to be what we're doing here.
Well, okay. First of all, let me point out, if you're interested to find out style, there is tons of stuff on YouTube, and I would refer everyone there. You will find every different shade of approach to playing this music, as well as the original recording that was made on a Edison recording device, with a cylinder.
So how is this different on recorder than it'd be on violin?
Well, totally. I mean, and you can hear some violinists. You can hear some trained violinists. You can hear some traditional violinists on YouTube, and their approaches are quite different.
So you've got a classical performer who approaches this one way, and a traditional performer who approaches it another way. So where are you on the recorder between those two?
Oh, well, I'm sitting right on the fence. I mean, I want to respect.
Uncomfortable.
I want well, kind of uncomfortable, actually.
Yeah.
Well, no, I really respect. I mean, the people who make a big deal about it in a performance way. I mean, you can hear like Patricia Kupachinskaya, who's from Moldova, but she has this music in her blood, and she
Right.
plays it. She plays Bartók like a traditional musician, but with classical training. So you hear it all
Great.
in that. And she does this particular piece, and she just plays the heck out of it. I mean, just really raw, lots of noise. You know, the problem with recorder,
can't really
and this
do
is
that.
why I envy violin. Violin can make ugly sounds and make music. Recorder, you can make ugly sounds. It isn't always music,
Yeah.
you know?
So what do you do to make
You can't make it dirty enough. Well, I play at the very edge of what the instrument can do. I try to get that dirty sound. You have to put a lot of air into the instrument and force the instrument to do well. This is really like this so well behaved, but I mean, you could play.
Yeah. Play some of that. Play some of that piece.
You know, you can do all sorts of noisy things, but mostly you have to do it in the way of just your gestures. You know, so and the articulation is the main thing. That's what you're using. I mean, that's your bow.
Okay.
The articulation is the bow. So you got to do it. So you hear some players play it like this. So that's one way to do it, to give it that attitude, to put some attitude into the music. But violinists can do it so much better, you know.
You know, being as we're here talking about articulation and practicing and stuff, I think you could use some more attitude. And the places that I would add it is with those tiny little grace notes. I put more space between them. I'm thinking of bar 18. That they're too polite to me. I would use much more articulation. Not so slow, not so fast. And can you give me more cut, cut, cut? Yeah, yes. See, I would go for that.
Yes. Alternate fingering sometimes can help.
Yes, they can. But if you're looking for some type of consistent attitude, I think the articulations you're doing and the way you're playing the rhythms are great. They remind me of when Joe Iadone was one of those new guys and around the block, and he and LaDue Davenport were jazz players. And so they would fondle those Renaissance rhythms in a way that just made them dance. And so that makes the rhythm dance, but I would keep going with that idea on those little grace notes. I also noticed that then after that you did the next phrase smoothly, and that was a great contrast. Would you play that?
Oh. From where?
From 17, 18, 19, 20, pick up to 21.
Okay. So.
Yeah, nice. But I would exaggerate a few things. That one of the things you could do more, you didn't exactly sign on for this, I know, but one of the things that you could do for more, you're not interrupting the melody with the rhythm a lot. Diam baka, do dig. You know, you're not anticipating things. You're doing diam bada. How about it? Diam bada, ding dum, and then being jung jet ding ding, being late on those. is a great way to balance it. Your rhythm's right in time. Their rhythm wouldn't be right in time. So can you exaggerate? Can you rush some little things? Can you push back some other little things? Start out, and the really smooth phrase, can you over smooth that phrase? So that when you do dum ba da da dum ba da ba ba, and then when you make your 16th, no, so overdo the articulations, overdo the rhythms, push and pull.
Okay.
Be really outrageous.
All right.
As you like to be. I mean, really, this is the essence of Steve.
This is me,
This
right?
is you. Yeah, so overdo it. Yeah, but you see what I mean? Now, that gives more attitude to the whole thing. Is that what you're looking for in the piece?
I mean, I come in with a very definite idea how something should sound. Then the musicians play it the way they want to play it. And then I'm stuck. I'm stuck with this. So how do I get them, to play it the way I want to play it?
Even if
It's
you've
rough.
arranged it, you can't do it?
Well, even if I can arrange it all day long. It's just that this thing does require, ideally, lots of flexibility.
I think so. Well, what I'm just asking you to do requires lots of flexibility, and you'd have to practice that.
With you, it wouldn't be a problem. It isn't a problem because you listen. You listen.
Ah, so it's listening.
It's about listening
Uh-huh.
and responding.
Yeah.
And living and playing in the moment, right? Most people, most musicians don't play in the moment. They're playing something according to a way that they've rehearsed it as much as they can.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, they're serving up yesterday's dinner.
That quote that you were saying before, say that again.
Well, Bruno Walter, it says, don't try to produce yesterday's emotion. Produce today's emotion. Produce the now. That was important to him. And he was a student of Gustav Mahler, so he should have known. But don't try to reheat yesterday's idea about how the music should go. Figure out how it should go right now.
What do you rehearse? What do you practice? Do you practice so that it'll be the same every time? Do you?
I practice so I always get the notes.
That is good.
I mean, let's get basic. Yeah, got to get the notes, right? And got to know. You got to have the feel of the land, the territory, and feel comfortable in it. Mm-hmm. But then, when it comes to performance time or dress rehearsal, let's say at the very latest, you've got to start making music at some point. And making music is a hard thing to do. I mean, if you have your own ideas, that's great. And I bring my own ideas. I do my own thing. But that's not good enough. When you're playing with other people, you've got to make accommodations. You got to listen to what they're doing, and make up for the fact that they'd have to be listening to what you're doing.
Well, let's assume that you practice to be ready to listen.
Yes, I practice to be ready to do the performance.
Yeah, well, you practice to be ready to rehearse. And then when you rehearse, what you find out are the parameters of what you could possibly do.
Yes.
But then on the day of performance, for example, you're playing a movement. And the movement before that, people were unusually feelingful. It was a little slower than they usually do it. And, there was much more gravitas. And now you're in the next movement, which is usually kind of moderate tempo, but you feel that it needs a different response to respond to that last piece. And so what are your choices? You can make it faster, right? If it was as a nice contrast. Or you could make it start from that old feeling and make it a transition to a new feeling of movement. You could do kind of anything you wanted, especially if you're by yourself.
Well, in terms of contrast, this is just the first movement of a suite that lasts only about 3 minutes.
Uh-huh.
If you play it the way, consecutively and, moving along, it's only 3 minutes, but there's a lot in there and there's a lot of variety. And the last piece, man, is a really fast and crazy piece. So he planned it that way.
So this is kind of an introduction.
This is just the beginning. It's an entrada. That's really
great,
what it is.
Because if you think of some of the intradas in German Baroque history and you feel how proud they were and stuff, Can we do this again with maybe some more pride? And can you do some of that rhythmic, kind of the push ahead, the pull back, the I don't know. To see if you can fool me. Okay, let's try it. Nice. Great.
That's closer.
Much
That's
closer. That's closer. Well, thank you for coming today, and I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure. Thank you, Tina.
Yeah.